For weeks last summer, protesters calling for racial justice clashed with federal agents in downtown Portland. Federal prosecutors said the U.S. courthouse sustained $50,000 in damage from nightly graffiti, fires, and vandalism.
These aren't late-night demonstrations. This is criminal activity.
Billy Williams, then U.S. Attorney for Oregon, vowed there would be consequences. In a press release, he warned, "Make no mistake, those who commit violence in the name of protest will be investigated, arrested, prosecuted, and face prison time." Which got me wondering, after all that tough talk, whatever happened? For months I've been tracking the 90 protest cases filed by the U.S. Department of Justice. And what I found is, federal prosecutors have quietly dismissed dozens of protest cases. So far, more than 30 federal cases have been dismissed, including both misdemeanor and felony charges, like assaulting a federal officer. Of those cases, more than half were dismissed with prejudice, which is extremely rare. It means the case is over and done with and can't be brought back to court. Is that the norm for the U.S. Department of Justice?
Well, I don't know how to define the norm. The reality is each case is handled separately.
Williams explained if prosecutors don't believe they can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, it will be dismissed. Simple as that.
Each case was analyzed for the evidence that we had at the time, and careful decisions were being made on whether or not someone should be charged based on the evidence, and then how it proceeds from there. If there's either new evidence that has developed or an appropriate resolution of the case. That's why I say everything is case specific when you go about these cases being processed through the system.
Federal prosecutors rarely handle protest cases, but when Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt passed on most cases, saying he was reserving resources for the most serious crimes, the feds stepped in. Then Attorney General William Barr reportedly instructed federal prosecutors to aggressively pursue protesters deemed violent or destructive. By summer's end, scores of people would be arrested on various federal charges by federal agents guarding the federal courthouse in Portland. Their names published in press releases and photos of their belongings like helmets, gas masks, and goggles included in court documents.
I've never made a decision in my career based upon political pressure, institutional pressure. That's just not the way that this office has to operate.
Most defendants from this summer's protests who are facing a mix of misdemeanor and felony charges are still awaiting trial after being delayed in part because of the pandemic. A few defendants cut plea deals, resulting in probation and a relatively short prison sentence of 30 days. Privately, several people closely involved with the protest cases say they expect many more federal charges to be dismissed soon.
As a criminal justice scholar, I am not surprised. But
Laura Appleman, law professor at Willamette University, believes this isn't about politics. It's about resources and an already busy caseload. Federal prosecutors must decide if it's worth their limited time and energy to prosecute each and every protest case, most of which are misdemeanors.
Sort of this balancing of stuff we have to do now, work we have to do now, plus work we know we'll have to do later, plus who knows? I mean, you know, this is the pandemic year of fire and ice. I mean, I don't know, dragons maybe next. I mean, I think any U.S. attorney must be like, I got to hold a little bit back because who knows what's coming in 2021.
The most vigorous legal fight has involved nearly a dozen Portland protesters charged with civil disorder. Defense attorneys argue the obscure law enacted during the 1960s civil rights era is unconstitutional. With the new president and soon new U.S. attorney in Oregon, Billy Williams stepped down on February 28th, it's not clear how these cases will be handled going forward. But like the protests themselves, there will undoubtedly be opposing views. Some will argue by dismissing cases, there's no accountability, while others claim the feds should have stayed out of this and never filed protest cases in the first place.